It was in South Africa that the royals first stepped foot on the continent. And on her 21st birthday in 1947, young Princess Elizabeth gave a speech in Cape Town that set off her reign and marked her heiress journey to inherit the father. I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service, she said. In the years to follow, the Queen returned to Africa and even created a special bond with Nelson Madiba Mandela. Here's a report from Kalden Ongmu.
Heartfelt condolences have been pouring in from all over the world for Queen Elizabeth II, including South Africa, a country with which the monarchy had strong ties rich with history. The late Queen made her first visit to the country with her parents and sister in the year 1947. On her 21st birthday, Princess Elizabeth made a speech broadcast from the gardens of Government House in Cape Town.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Considering the history of colonialism in Africa, which was at times a bit complicated, the royal family was treated with kind and respect. Princess Elizabeth in her speech even emphasized that everywhere she traveled in South Africa with her parents and sister, she felt she was at home. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa joined hands with the world in sending condolences to the Britain's royal family. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II passed away on Thursday at the age of 96 years. Queen Elizabeth shared a strong bond with South Africa, and more so with former President Nelson Mandela. It is said they enjoyed a warm friendship and highly respected each other. They were friendly and often hosted one another in their respective countries. Mandela apparently even had a special name for her.
Queen and Madiba had a very special relationship. This relationship went as far as him referring to her on a first name basis and vice versa. And that kind of closeness, you do not just write off because a person, both of them has now passed on. To demonstrate this closeness, Madiba also just fondly referred to her as Motlalepule, which in a local South African language means the one who brings rain. This was after Queen Elizabeth had visited Madiba in 1995, and it rained so heavily that Madiba appreciated the rain, that she was here when it was raining.
However, not every South African was a fan of the late Queen, and after her passing, this was made clear. South Africa's third largest political party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, issued a statement where they mentioned, "We do not mourn the passing of Elizabeth because to us, her death is a reminder of a very tragic period in the country and Africa's history. During her 70-year reign as Queen, she never once acknowledged the atrocities that her family inflicted on native people that Britain invaded across the world. If there is really life and justice after death, may Elizabeth and her ancestors get what they deserve." But there is a new line of royalty and monarch. Some in the continent are optimistic about the new king's era. They say leaders in some countries in the continent need to up their game.
The past happened. What about the now and the future? And so I think that is the most important thing. And so I understand that in the African discourse and even in the African academia, philosophy, intellectualism, it's always good to use the historical analysis, because that's where you sound intellectual and revolutionary. But when you say, okay, fine, now let's talk about the future, that's where you find that we are bankrupt and we are naked. And so that's why I'm saying, let's have futuristic revolutionaries, people who would really redefine the future of Africa rather than to be the prison of sentimental politics.
The fallen queen was connected to Africa in so many ways, but her passion for the continent was clouded by deeds of the past, like oppression by the British colonialists in their now former territories. The queen did try to foster relationship during her visits to Africa. However, most praised the crown and not the person who wore it. This is Kalden Ongmu from Johannesburg, South Africa. For WION, World is One.